Another Friday night, another string of social media posts to make me feel left out.
Amy scrolled through her phone, feeling a familiar pang of loneliness. Suddenly, a notification popped up.
Shadow app, see what lurks.
Intrigued, Amy clicked on the link. The app's description sent a shiver down her spine. It promised to reveal shadows invisible to the naked eye. Amy, always drawn to the mysterious, hit download. The app installed quickly. Its icon was a black square, a single white eye staring back at her. Amy held her breath and tapped the icon. The app opened to a black screen with a single instruction.
Dim the lights.
Amy hesitated. What would she find in the darkness? Curiosity outweighed her fear. She flicked the light switch off.
Okay, here goes nothing.
Amy held her breath, her heart pounding in her chest. She tapped the show me button. At first, nothing happened. Then, in the corner of her vision, she noticed something. A faint, almost imperceptible shadow danced at the edge of her phone screen.
Am I really seeing this?
Amy blinked, unsure if what she was seeing was real. The shadow flickered again, a fleeting wisp of darkness against the dim light of her phone. She leaned closer, her breath catching in her throat. The shadow seemed to deepen, taking on a more defined shape. It was shapeless, formless, yet undeniably there. Panic welled up inside her. Amy tried to look away to convince herself it was just her imagination, but the shadow held her captive. It moved with a subtle, eerie fluidity, as if it were alive. Fear, cold and clammy, tightened its grip on her. This was a mistake. She shouldn't have downloaded the app.
It's just a glitch.
But deep down, a chilling certainty settled over her. This was no ordinary shadow. It felt wrong, malevolent, even. The air grew heavy, charged with an unseen energy. Amy wanted to scream, to run, but her feet felt rooted to the spot. The single shadow began to multiply. At first they were just faint outlines, lurking at the periphery of her vision. But with each passing second, they grew bolder, darker, their movements more pronounced. Amy's annoyance morphed into full-blown terror. This was no game, this was real, and it was closing in on her. Her finger hovered over the uninstall button, but a chilling message flashed across the screen.
There's no escaping the shadows.
Her phone slipped from her grasp, clattering onto the floor. Panic seized her. She scrambled for the light switch, her fingers scrabbling against the wall. But the room remained shrouded in darkness.
No, no, no.
A cold wind seemed to whip through the room, though the windows were closed. The shadows danced with a terrifying frenzy, their forms twisting and contorting in ways that defied logic. They were all around her now, hemming her in, their silent, menacing presence suffocating. Amy's voice caught in her throat as she tried to call for help. No sound escaped her lips. She was utterly alone, trapped in a nightmare of her own making. One shadow, darker and more distinct than the others, began to solidify before her. It rose from the floor, its form slowly taking on the horrifying silhouette of a human figure. The air crackled with static as the shadow figure stretched out a hand towards her. Amy squeezed her eyes shut, bracing herself for the inevitable, but the touch never came. Silence descended once more, heavy and absolute. She cautiously opened her eyes.
What just happened?
The shadows were gone, vanished. The only light came from her phone screen, illuminating her own terrified face. But as her gaze darted around the room, she noticed something in the corner of her eye. A single shadow, long and thin, lingered by the closet door. And then, with a swiftness that made her heart leap into her throat, it retreated into the darkness, leaving Amy alone with the echo of her terror.